Okay. So I got my notes now. We are in the spoiler section. Mowgli, what do you think of the film?
Come on, Mowgli.
I thought it was Nick.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Mowgli's opinion. Mowgli is the best dog. Everybody loves his dog. Yeah. So let's go and talk about the individual characters.
right.
as a
Okay.
way to start this thing.
God, there's so many.
So yeah, and that's part of the reason why I think this film didn't work. You told me earlier. What was that point you made?
It suffers from what I feel a lot of these new superhero movies suffer, but which Marvel I think managed to juggle far better than this film does, and it's too cluttered. There are too many characters in it. They don't get the proper development. They don't get the proper.
Yep.
There's not the weight to their character, and so this has tons and tons of characters.
Whereas Captain America was done well in that sense. X-Men falls on his face, and you can see here what happens when you have too many characters that don't have interesting arcs, or that have played out arcs, or that have arcs that go by in a flash.
Yeah, they're sort of like window dressing.
For example, the whole Beast and Mystique thing, they're still dragging their feet there. It's just awkward. Just stop it.
Yeah,
just,
it was
please.
like they're just
Move
like
on,
looking at
Beast.
each other,
and then and they're still milking the Mystique and Magneto thing, and it's like, oh Jesus. Okay, so let's start with Mystique. So Mystique is a hero from Days of Futures Past. She's been exposed to the world literally in her powers.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's a hero to the mutants. A lot of the mutants in this particular film look up to her. Some of the new ones.
Yeah.
How'd you feel that they treated Mystique here?
Oh gosh. So she sort of seemed I liked her for the most part.
Yeah.
Right. She had, especially with seeing what happened in Days of Futures Past and knowing about her backstory. Yeah, she seemed sort of damaged still. She didn't want to be part of Charles's school and all that, but
A rebel.
yeah, it sort of felt like she was being the rebel
without a
to
cause.
be the rebel.
Or actually with a cause. You know?
With a cause.
But yeah, so you have Mystique, but here's a good thing when you talk about the spoilers. A good thing about going and seeing the film is you finally get to see the X-Men in a little bit of color. I've been hating this from the very first X-Men with I think it was Brian that did the first X-Men, where everybody's all in black. And in this movie they have this fucking scene where they just randomly have suits that fit everybody.
Oh, flight suits.
Yeah, even Myra has a suit that fits her, even though she's not an X-Man, not a mutant. So I was like, oh. But at the end of the film, you finally get to see them in the danger room with a little bit of color. Nightcrawler's got his red. Mystique has her white. Cyclops has his yellow. So that was cool to see.
That was cool.
And I hope that we get to see a little bit of Wolverine's real outfit.
And it was a solid 2-minute scene. So
yeah.
In a 3-hour
was a good
movie.
one, right?
Yeah, it was all right.
I love that. All right, so let's talk about Cyclops next. Cyclops, I think. What did you think about Cyclops in this film?
Yeah, he had a little bit of establishment with like the school scene and all that.
Yeah, I thought he was boring.
Yeah, it wasn't really that exciting, but I mean, he had something going for him.
He was boring. I get where you're coming from, where he's boring.
But Cyclops is supposed to be kind of boring, isn't he?
A little bit, but he had nothing. He didn't suffer from what a lot of these characters suffer was. I don't think he was super ridiculous.
Right.
And I didn't think he was. What he did was believable.
Believable and relatable.
But it wasn't extraordinary.
Yeah,
for the most
extraordinary.
part.
I think it was kind of dumb. Now I had a hot dog at this movie theater really messed me up, so I missed a little bit of when he first came to the school.
Yeah.
But I caught a little bit of Sansa, Jean Grey, looking at him, and it's like this connection between them. I don't buy. It's like he shows up, he shoots the pond and cuts a tree in half, and all of a sudden Jean Grey's like, ooh.
Maybe he's not just the blind guy.
Whatever. Or was there a scene before that maybe he runs into her?
Yeah, he bumped into her in the hallway and
she's
knocked
like,
all
"Oh
her
my
papers,
God."
and she like floats them back to her. And she goes, "Watch where you're going." He's like, "I can't." And
can't?
I can't because he's blind.
Okay, gotcha.
And she just like kind of like looks at him all weird
so
and
I
walks
missed
off.
a little bit of the establishment there, but I don't know. I just didn't see a connection there between these two that would plant that seed of love that we see in the future with Jean Grey and Cyclops. Now, Xavier, I'm starting to see, I think that this whole film is an excuse to explain away
make
his
him
hair
bald.
loss. Yeah, to make him bald. So he loses his hair because in the transference between him and Apocalypse, his hair just magically disappears. It
Which
doesn't
doesn't
even
make
fall.
any sense, like a lot of Apocalypse's powers. but-
Exactly. So Apocalypse has the power to evaporate or disappear Xavier's hair. And I'm starting more of these films coming out. I'm starting to see Xavier's theories and ways of thinking starting to fall apart and see cracks in it because he's so optimistic. He's so this when very clearly, the reality is much different. And I would support Magneto versus supporting Xavier.
How what was a
The
specific
way he
example of that
thinks
for you?
of the world, that he thinks he
he's
can
very hopeful about
integrate.
it.
Right, he thinks he can integrate mutants and humans when humans hate mutants, pretty much, almost by default. Most humans, you know what I mean? And he's so bullheaded about it. He's kind of a jerk, And
In a
he even
way,
wipes Myra's mind.
Yeah, he wipes
for a
her-
whole movie, pretty much wiping the whole movie away, and then he gives her memories back, and she's crying. She's not mad at him.
Yeah, she's not pissed that
real
all her
woman would be
memories
like,
went
"What
away."
the fuck? Why'd you do that? Don't screw with my mind like that." But he's like,
Yeah,
I'm Xavier.
he's like there.
"You get to do whatever." All right, who else? Like I said,
Oh,
Quicksilver, best character
character.
in this film, gets the coolest scenes. Man, that actor probably looked at the script and was like, "Oh yeah, I get to save
the best."
everybody." so the
Literally all the
scene
kids.
is he shows up when Apocalypse is like fucking up Xavier's school
Yeah.
and beating ass, and then explodes the entire school. And Quicksilver just goes in there. He's got time to spare. He's like grabbing
Yeah,
people.
it's sort of like the scene with the guards in Days of Future's Past.
Yeah.
Except I don't know, I might have liked this one even better. It was pretty cool. They did
yeah.
the same camera angle on his face where he's just running and
For sure. And he even gets a scene where he beats the shit out of Apocalypse for a little while. And
he's
I was
just
like, yes.
kicking the crap out of him.
Yeah. So, I mean, the movie might be worth it to see his parts. I said that before, but I really think that's true. Angel.
He's introduced in a cool way, I thought. I thought the cage fight thing was pretty cool with him and Nightcrawler. And then nothing.
And then
nothing at all.
He's just a shell. And in fact, what a poor, like we said, the horsemen are weak as hell.
Yeah, they're weak. They're like, and he's always has 4 followers, and then it relates him to the horsemen.
I mean, Nightcrawler beats his ass in the cage, and then Apocalypse comes. I'm gonna boost your powers, blah, blah, and then he makes him Archangel, I guess, and then Nightcrawler fights him and kicks his ass again.
Yeah, like in the almost the
And it
exact
didn't-
same way.
Yeah, it was like Dragon Ball Z where they were fighting. Yeah, and you couldn't see shit. They were like, and then he got caught in a cage again. Bird in a cage. Whoa!
Yeah, ooh, the symbolism.
Yeah, symbolism. Nightcrawler. What'd you think of Nightcrawler?
It was kind of cool, the establishing scene, whatever. But again, it's like that. They just found like the first dude was like,
No.
he's perfect for the role.
Zach, Nightcrawler was one of the good guys.
Yeah, I know.
Who came up to him and said perfect for the role?
Mystique, when she's like, "Oh look, the dude who can get me there really fast."
Oh, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
She's going around freeing mutants from their captivity, and she says, "This guy's perfect." And in the comics, I think Nightcrawler is actually supposed to be her son, but that's clearly not the case here. She doesn't treat him as a son or anything like that. Excuse me, but I thought Nightcrawler was cool. A little young, but all these particular versions of X-Men are young, so he fit perfectly. If you're going with a younger version, then he fit real well. Who else was in this film?
So there's Magneto.
Yes, let's talk about Magneto. He gets to rip up Auschwitz.
Yeah,
he gets to
just
come back to
Auschwitz.
the Holocaust and just get revenge by ripping buildings in shreds as Apocalypse boosts his power to where he could pretty much control even more. He could control dirt now.
He pulls like the Iron stuff out of the
dirt
earth.
and stuff. I didn't know what he was doing at the end of the film. I had to go again. I came back in, and he was, basically had his hands out in this sort of metal orb, and Quicksilver was like, "Wait, I can't penetrate it."
Yeah, the like magnetic field or whatever.
What was he doing there?
So what we were talking about was like that was Apocalypse's way of like tearing down the human civilization, right? Was having Magneto just rip out all the metal because he saw
Rip out all the metal of the world, or just Egypt?
No, because it would cut to scenes of like remember it showed
right.
the cities getting all their metal and the bridge getting torn up.
Right.
Which I mean is just a huge plot hole in Apocalypse's plan, which ties in with a earlier scene.
And why is it a plot hole, Zach?
Because they launched all the nukes, and then they just kind of floated in space.
When he could have just went.
Yeah, there's a scene where Xavier is looking for
Makes no fucking
Magneto
sense.
with his what is that thing called? His brain bucket.
Morpheus? No, something.
You know what we're talking about.
Yes.
He's got the helmet on and he finds Magneto, but then Apocalypse finds him because he's mind melding with somebody close to it. Anyways, Apocalypse takes over Xavier and uses his power to take control of everybody who's basically got the keys to like nuclear missile launches, and he launches the entire world's supply of nuclear weapons.
Right.
And
into the air.
And as I'm watching
into space.
As I'm watching, I'm like, wow, this was where the film was gonna pick up. I'm like, this is really
cool.
ballsy. This is how they won up Days of Future Past by actually nuking the entire world.
And then there would have to be time travel involved or something.
Yeah.
But no, you go from.
And he just floats them off into space.
What? That was his opportunity. This guy basically must be the worst hangover, millennia hangover or something. He just wants to destroy everything and just restart. His thing was only the strong will survive or whatever. And so, yeah, we'll fucking slam nukes into everything and only the strong will survive.
I mean, maybe you can make the argument that, like, he's all about mutants and nukes are a human thing and he wanted to destroy them. But, like,
he didn't gather mutants at his pyramid. He only had his 4 horsemen and he was ripping up the world from there. So, I don't know. It just didn't make any sense. He's like, no more weapons. And then he ripped it. I was like, okay, cool.
And then he has Magneto do basically what nukes would have done, except it takes much longer. And Magneto, turns good at the end.
So we get to talk to you about Weapon X, which I was surprised to see. I didn't think that They would have to inject, but it's almost like a requirement to inject Hugh Jackman into every fucking X-Men film. And so he does have an appearance here. He's in a cage when they are captured. Right after the school is blown up, Stryker comes by with a squad of Spec Ops and knocks out all the students, takes them because he wants to know what the fuck, where are all our nukes, that kind of stuff. But conveniently, as you said in the theater, the Weapon X program just happens to be right next to the generator that controls all the power to the fucking...
In the huge prison facility, they didn't have like a prison cell for him. They just kept him in a box near the generator.
So Jean Grey unleashes him. That's when we get the brutal scene of just cutting dudes. Now, they don't show it in graphic detail, but they're not scared to show blood splatter on walls.
Oh yeah, they show
like
him just stabbing people. But it's not like they show him like ripping people in
half. But that's what Weapon X would have done, is rip people in half at that point, at least in the comics. But he was just insane, especially with the unit. And I was really surprised. He looks exactly like the action figure that I had when I was a kid. They didn't shy away from doing that. Why did they not shy away from showing that fucking ridiculous Weapon X outfit, and they shy away from doing the real X-Men suits, except
Everyone's
for the end.
in gray.
Exactly. In the end, they do the real ones. But his scene was awesome, and then it's hilarious. Jean Grey has this sort of touching moment with him where she takes the unit off him, calms him down, and basically helps him, and then he's like,
the scene where he runs off into the woods is, I don't know, I just think it's kind of funny looking.
Unintentionally hilarious for us. I don't know. We were the only ones in the theater laughing. Everybody else was like, oh, this touching moment.
Naked Hugh Jackman takes off into the snow.
Yeah, it was a little creepy because Sansa looks a little too young for Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, like I was thinking like...
And then he runs away.
It's like a high school, right?
Yeah, he's like
40.
40, and she's in... Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever.
I guess he's
man,
ripped.
Wolverine is like what is it? Dazed and Confused. The women stay the same. Anyways, okay. So, what else? That's pretty much it. Other than the fact that I think that there were good scenes in the film. Magneto had good motivations. He tried to do a family. Ended up not working out because of humans being so scared of what he can do. Ends up killing his wife and daughter, giving him the motivation needed to be like, make me a horseman. You know, I don't care.
Yeah, which I mean, it's sort of the same thing that happens with Magneto in every X-Men movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the scene with his family was not bad at all.
Mm-hmm. Apocalypse, worst villain, done poorly. Voice, like I said, was stupid and cliche. He's a walking, talking, old type of villain like they had in the comics. He doesn't have the complex motivations. He just wants to. Destroy it, and it's just not interesting. Now he's not the purple. He isn't the bright purple color or pink color that we thought he was in promotional images, looking like Power Rangers villain. I forget that guy's name. He actually looked blue here, but he just didn't even look cool.
He was. If they had gone for that,
stupid.
just wanting to, his not really having complex motivations, they should have made him very imposing and very just. What's the word I'm looking for? I think it just is imposing. He was not imposing.
Now, when I
villain.
left during the battle in Egypt, did the humans ever mobilize their military?
Nothing happens. So that's the reason the stakes don't feel high, because even though
what about their tanks and their jets?
No tanks, no jets.
They didn't even
no
bother.
human. It doesn't show.
They were like, Magneto's there. Fuck it, we're not going.
It doesn't show anything that the humans are doing except like the generals and like the Pentagon
makes no
and
sense.
stuff.
The
just
whole
going,
world.
Oh no.
Yeah, the whole world's falling apart, and they don't mobilize a team of the plastic guns like they did last time,
Nope.
or okay, well,
Nothing.
or wooden bow and arrows that they used to.
Yeah, the
intimidate.
Soviet Union got it right
Yeah.
with wooden bow and arrows.
No, that was
but-
the Polish. I think he was in Poland. So
I
the
thought they were-
Poles get it right to take on Magneto. But we missed 2-3 characters. Storm.
Yeah, see,
Not
now
a character at
now
all.
I know why we missed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was introduced, and her whole thing was, ooh, she liked Mystique. She looked up to Mystique.
Mm-hmm.
But then Apocalypse just increased her power, and then she was on
And
her
then she
side.
saw how Apocalypse was kind of a jerk, and she's like, "Okay, fuck this. I'm gonna be on these guys."
Yeah, and she lightnings him
team.
at the end.
But she, as her look, I thought her look was cool.
Yeah.
Her look was on point from the comics when she gets the little mohawk. I've always preferred the more veteran Storm, the older Storm. So I'm waiting for her to blossom into that and become a leader in the X-Men. But kind of a weak character again. We already talked about how Beast pretty much just shut up, Beast. You're not helping
He's
with
like-
your
He's
jumping.
like he's like discount Hulk.
Yeah,
He
it
thro-
takes him.
He he throws a car, and it looks like it takes a lot of effort for him to throw this one car in an age where superheroes
just-
throw buildings,
Yeah,
and Hulk
exactly.
punches the big thing in Avengers, and
It's like, go home, Beast. Just keep
What
making
are you
cool
doing?
shit for the X-Men, like the Black Hawk or whatever. And then there was Jubilee. She had a few scenes, but again, she did nothing.
Her
in
look
this.
was good.
Her
They
look
nailed the look.
They nailed the look. I'm waiting for Jubilee to fucking do something. I want her to use her little Jubilee firework powers. Because in the cartoon, one of my favorite scenes in the cartoon was when Juggernaut is on the warpath and Jubilee comes up to him and she's like, or he's like, "What are you gonna do? Hit me with your diaper?" It was and I still remember it to this day. So that's it for X-Men Apocalypse. They ended. Let's talk about the scene after the credits.
they
What happens after the credits, Zach?
The government dude comes in and gets the Wolverine DNA
Yep.
Yeah,
out of the cabinet right next to the power generator.
and the clothes.
In the X-Men box, he has his
X-Men
own.
box.
He's got a box of other DNAs or a briefcase of other DNAs, and then he closes it, and it says SX Corp. Now I had to look this one up, and the alter ego of Mr. Sinister is a guy that owns SX. So they are alluding to Mr. Sinister, and it would have been cool if they had gotten a Deadpool reference in there, though. Maybe that was one of those test tubes was something from Deadpool. I don't know.
Because his power is
You just
healing,
couldn't
and if you got
shake.
the Wolverine power,
Yeah.
wouldn't that just be redundant?
Well, I think that I guess you're right.
Oh
yeah,
God,
I guess
I'm
you're right.
probably gonna get crucified because I just probably mixed up a small.
No.
Incongruity
Deadpool
with
has
their
healing
powers.
powers just like Wolverine, but he also has the powers of chaos and fourth break. I guess you
Yeah.
can't bottle that. But anyway, I just wanted to see some reference to Deadpool because I want these universes to cross over. So this is Fox. They have their own little, they've got the rights to the mutants and the X-Men. So if they're going to do this, I want them to have their own team-up film where they've got Deadpool in there, they got Wolverine, and they've got these current X-Men. I hope these actors do sign on for another one. I think this fourth film was weak, but Mr. Sinister, where can they go from here? And we were in the theater, and I was like, well, damn, man, they pretty much done everything
The dude's
backwards.
name was Apocalypse,
right? They become the X-Men after defeating Apocalypse, which was one of the greatest challenges in the cartoon series. They've kind of done it backwards, and nothing's left. So now they're digging in the garbage pile. You got Mr. Sinister, who takes people's DNA for himself and tries to build the ultimate mutant. I guess he's going to be the ultimate mutant. And it's possible that business-suited guy was Sinister, because he kind of looked really, stoic and long face, and I could see a red diamond going in his head, but I don't know.
To me, he kind of looked like he looked like Leonard from The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, did he?
I have no idea why.
I'm starting to forget what he looked like. So there's Mr. Sinister. What else could they do? They could do the Phoenix. They alluded to that. Jean Grey did get to go Phoenix or Dark Phoenix or whatever you want to say, and she fucked up Apocalypse.
She's like almost single-handedly melted Apocalypse.
Yeah, so that is a future storyline, the Phoenix. I don't think they're going to go a cartoon route where space aliens show up with that little xenomorph ripoff and have bugs come. So you've got Dark Phoenix, you got Mr. Sinister. What else could happen in this world?
Man, like I said, Zach and I are not X-Men buffs, so we don't know too many of the villains.
But okay, well, I'll tell you. The only other one that I can think of that would be compelling is House of M, which is when Magneto kind of says, okay, enough of this shit. All mutants come with me, and they build their own utopia, their own island, and then they start to have a Cold War with humanity, and he's like a dictator.
To me, that sounds like the coolest option.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot I feel you could do with that and develop Magneto's
And
character.
plus, Fassbender is a great actor.
Yeah, I mean, he's an amazing actor. And if they give him the right script, he'd destroy it. So
those are
In a
the
good way.
options. We would most want to see probably House of M, but we're going to get Sinister next. And if we get Sinister, make it a crossover. Throw in Deadpool, throw in Wolverine, and and make it a better film than Apocalypse. Thank you, guys. It was a super long spoiler section, but whatever. And I'm going to have Zach have the last word since he barely talks.
I'll see you next time on the Angry Joe Show.
All right. See y'all.